Hello. So after we recorded this episode, we realized, holy crap, that was a super valuable episode. And we shared so many tangible strategies and this really comprehensive game plan. And we realized as you're listening to it, it's going to be hard to keep track of everything because there are just so many aspects of this game plan that we go over. So to save you from having to take a million notes, we designed a free workbook to accompany this episode that's going to walk you through the exact steps and exercises that we talk about in today's episode. So head on over to the show notes. We will link it for you there. We highly recommend downloading it. It's just going to make listening to this episode so much more enjoyable because you'll know you already have the outline there for you. And we really want you to take action with this episode too. So having that workbook will make sure that you actually follow through on trying all these tips and techniques. So head on over to the show notes for that free workbook. 44% of people, that's almost half of people, said yes, currently in a rut. I also asked, I gave one of the options was not now, but we've had one in the past. 40% of people said that they have had at least one rut in the past and never had a rut. 5% of liars.
Wow. Great for the five. You know, it's 5% of people that haven't been in relationships very long.
Yeah. We've
They're
been
in the
together
first year or two.
For 6 months. Hello and welcome to the Pillow Talks podcast. We're your hosts, Vanessa
and Xander Marin.
I'm a sex therapist with over 20 years of experience.
And I'm just a regular dude. We share the ups and downs in our relationship while giving you step-by-step techniques for improving yours.
Make sure you subscribe for your weekly double date full of totally doable sex tips, practical relationship advice, hilarious and honest stories of what really goes on behind closed bedroom doors, and so much more. It's the sex education you wish you'd had. If you are feeling like you're in a rut in your relationship right now, you are in the right place. Today's episode, we're going to do something different that I don't think we've ever really done something exactly like this before. We have talked about relationship ruts before because they are surprisingly common. I think when you're in the middle of a rut, it's very easy to feel embarrassed and ashamed and feel like other people don't wind up in this kind of place. But
yeah, everybody's happy. Everybody's happy but me. It's happening for everybody else and we're just stuck.
They're very common. That doesn't make them any less enjoyable. It doesn't feel good when you feel like you're stuck in a rut with your partner. So we decided to come up with a 4-week structured game plan for getting out of your rut.
Yeah, because who doesn't want a good game plan?
We've given tons of advice before about different ways to get out of a rut, but I thought it would be useful for us to really come up with a super specific plan of 4 weeks, here's what we're doing in each week. We're also trying to make this really manageable. This is not go on a 2-week vacation and then everything will be great. These are, little activities, bang for your buck kind of stuff, but a specific plan for helping you get out of that rut.
Yeah, I think that's so important because I think one of the most challenging things in relationships is that everything can feel so big. Even all the advice can feel really big. And it's yeah, we're in a rut. I know we got to communicate better. I know we got to have more emotional intimacy. I know we got to have more physical intimacy. I know we got to have more date nights, but how the heck are we going to do all of that? It feels so impossible. It feels like, you're falling really deep in a hole. And it's I can't reach the top. I can't jump out. I can't climb out. How do I even start getting myself out of this? I know that I need to get out of the hole, but I don't know how to, which is why, we just wanted to break this down into actual, okay, you're going to do this today. You're going to do this midweek. You're going to do this at the end of the week. All right, next week, you're going to do this. So we're super excited for this. But before we actually start sharing that game plan with you, I got to tell you this week's review of the week. Reviews are so important and are so helpful in helping our podcast grow. So what we do is we pick a review every single podcast. It's either a review for the podcast itself or for one of our products. And if you hear your review read aloud, then you've won a free masterclass from us. All you have to do is DM us on Instagram or email us at info@vmtherapy.com to claim your prize. And if you want to leave a review, well, you can DM us about any of the courses of ours that you've purchased, or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Scroll all the way down to the Pillow Talks page on Apple Podcasts, smash that 5-star button, and leave us a short review. All right, this week's. Ironically, I have a master's degree in communication and I'm a college professor. I'm very well versed on communication styles and the concept of communicating in a style that's received the best instead of what is typically most comfortable for you. However, I have never equated the same concept to initiation styles. I thought I was broken. I actually had my hormones tested because I feel like I have zero sex drive. But always I wind up enjoying myself and thinking, why don't we do this more when it's done? We are complete opposites. He's a boob honking, spontaneous type, and I'm a don't even think about it while I'm washing the dishes responsive type. Eye-opening. We have the same fight over and over. I need emotional intimacy first. He needs physical intimacy to feel connected. We'll get there. Appreciate your work.
We just love hearing reviews like this. And I think this is a really relatable one as well. So many couples struggle with initiation. And poor initiation is not just annoying, like an annoying boob honk. It can also lead to more arguments, resentment, disconnection, not to mention a significant decrease in your attraction to your partner, to your libido overall. But it's something that, like this person mentioned, like we really tend to overlook it. So we do have an incredible course that covers this and that covers all the specific things that they called out in their review. It's The Art of Initiation. So if you want to check it out, you can go straight to vmtherapy.com/initiation, or you can get access to it, plus most of our other guides and courses inside Deeper, our brand new membership. We will link both of those in the show notes for you. So our next podcast sponsor popped into our life at the perfect time. I swear, like 2 weeks ago, I was just saying, we are not eating enough seafood. And I just don't know where to get actual high quality seafood that I trust. And then lo and behold, Wild Alaskan comes into the picture.
Answered our prayers.
Wild Alaskan Company is the best way to get wild caught, perfectly portioned, nutrient dense seafood delivered directly to your door. This is 100% wild caught, never farmed. No antibiotics, GMOs, or additives, just clean, real fish that supports healthy oceans and fishing communities. Wild Alaskan fish is frozen right off the boat to lock in taste, texture, and nutrients, and it's sustainably sourced. It's wild caught from Alaska, so every order supports sustainable harvesting practices.
Yeah, I was so impressed when we received our box. I think that you're imagining I'm getting a fish delivery in a box, and you might have a couple concerns about okay, what's it gonna look like when it gets here? But I was so impressed. It was packed. The box was packed with really great insulation. It's got dry ice inside the box. Everything is frozen, absolutely solid. It probably could have sat in that box for a couple of more days. That's how good of a job they did packing it. So yeah, I am so excited about
And
this.
we got some of our favorite fish varieties too, like sockeye salmon, coho salmon, Pacific halibut, Pacific cod, so many different options. And Wild Alaskan has 100% money back guarantee. If you're not fully satisfied with your first box, they will give you a full refund, no questions asked. Not all fish are the same. Get seafood you can trust. Go to wildalaskan.com/pillow for $35 off your first box of premium wild caught seafood. That's wildalaskan.com/pillow for $35 off your first order. Thanks to Wild Alaskan Company for sponsoring this episode. Are you neglecting your neck?
Are you?
I gotta say, I love skincare. I have been into it since I was in my 20s, but I ignored my neck and chest for so long. And that's really unfortunate because I think those are actually the areas where you start to see aging the most, which is why we're excited to tell you about GoPure and their Tighten and Lift Neck Cream. The skin on your neck is thinner, more delicate, and less oily than facial skin, and it actually does need special care. GoPure's proprietary firming complex is designed to visibly firm and smooth the skin on your neck and chest in as little as 4 to 8 weeks. In a consumer study, 100% of users said their skin looked more supple and 97% noticed a firmer appearance. This cream is dermatologist recommended, cruelty-free, paraben-free, and sulfate-free, and there are over 1 million jars sold. Plus, GoPure has an entire line of other products. We're just featuring the neck cream today, but there are so many other skincare and body care products that are science-backed, proven to tighten, lift, and smooth skin from head to toe. Tighten, lift, and restore elasticity in your neck because your skincare routine should not stop at your jawline. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off GoPure with code PILLOW at checkout. Just head to gopurebeauty.com, use code PILLOW, and you're all set. And after you buy, do us a favor. When they ask where you heard about GoPure, tell them it was from our show. Okay, so let's talk about ruts. I think first we got to define what is a relationship rut.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about how to bust a rut, but first we gotta define the rut itself.
I hate that phrase.
Bust a rut.
Bust a rut. It sounds terrible.
I mean, I think it's kind of a fun way to poke a little bit of humor at a challenging topic.
Poke humor?
Wait, sorry.
That was a real Vanessa-ism right there.
Yeah, wait, what am I mixing up?
Humor.
What
I don't know. What are you?
I don't know. Inject a little bit of humor.
Sure, that
Poke
works.
fun at. Poke fun at. There we go. Wow, that really was. What is
that
it?
Was pretty bad.
A malphorism?
Malphorism. I think
Malaphor.
Malaphor. That's when you mix up your metaphors like I do. But it's always me. You've never done it before.
Technically speaking, it's not a metaphor. It's a aphorism.
Or idioms?
Idiom or aphorism. An aphorism is like a quippy one-liner.
Okay, so ruts. Okay, there's not any technical definition of what a rut is, but it's essentially just feeling like you're stuck in a cycle. Things are feeling repetitive, they're feeling boring, you're not feeling connected to each other. It can often look like conversations are just about the logistics of life, like, who's picking up Timmy from soccer practice.
It's always Timmy. It's always Timmy.
Who's picking up Timmy from soccer practice? Did you pay the electricity bill this month? You're not having any deeper, more meaningful conversations.
It's like roommate style conversations, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Quality time is just zoning out on the couch. You're watching Netflix. You're both on your phones at the same time. There's nothing quality about the quality time.
Quality time is we cohabitate the same house. We sleep in the same bed. That's quality, right?
Yeah, not quite. And typically in most ruts, you're also not having sex. Probably not much kissing, touching each other in general. You really are feeling more like roommate. You're sharing space with each other. You're not in a relationship with each other.
I think also one of the most challenging things about this type of rut is it can be really hard to tell that you're getting into it until you're really deep in it. Mm-hmm. I think that's
kind of sneaks up on you.
Yeah, it really sneaks up on you. Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. I'm trying to think of an actual metaphor for a rut. Where might you actually fall physically into a rut? You're driving down the road and you start slowly drifting off to the side and boom, before you know it, you're in a rut. But no, I think that it is. Yeah, it's really a challenge. I know I would say the one time in our relationship where we got into a pretty serious rut, I think was early on in our relationship. I was working my ass off in a job, really trying to my first job out of college and really trying to advance my career because I thought that was the sole measure of my success as a man and as a provider in our relationship. And I just didn't have time or energy to do anything. I was getting home super late at night after working all day. And And yeah, it was like, and partially I just thought like, well, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, right? Like Vanessa should be aware of that. And, it wasn't until like probably months and months of that and us starting to have some conversations about it, it was like, oh yeah, this doesn't feel good for either of us. And yeah, I mean, the challenge with ruts are the deeper you are into it, the harder it is to get out. And so, yeah, it can be really hard when you don't realize it for a while.
We turned to our Instagram community and we asked, do you feel like you're currently in a relationship rut? And this actually blew me away. 44% of people, that's almost half of people, said yes, currently in a rut. I also asked, I gave one of the options was not now, but we've had one in the past. 40% of people said that they have had at least one rut in the past, and never had a rut. 5% of liars.
Wow. Great for the five. It's 5% of people that haven't been in relationships very long.
Yeah. Like we've been together for 6 months. No, I mean, everybody's different. Everybody's unique. But I do think getting into a rut is a pretty universal relationship experience.
Yeah, it's absolutely a universal experience. I think in a way it's kind of like a rite of passage. Like we have to do these things. We have to make mistakes. Even when we know objectively like, oh yeah, I shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that. It's not good to do X, Y, or Z. I can't think of anybody that like doesn't ultimately have to learn from making a couple mistakes on their own. And I think this is really true here as well. It is really sad to hear that 44% of people, almost half of people feel like they're
right
currently
now. That's wild.
In a rut. I mean, I think that it's like, this is such a tricky topic because it's like I want to be really kind and empathetic. And I also want to like give some really real talk. Like it is totally normal to to find yourself in a rut at one time or another, but you do not need to be in a rut like right now. You don't need to stay in that rut. I think the challenge for so many people is that they just get stuck in it and think like, oh, this is just kind of the way things are going to be. Or they do what I did when we were in this. And, it wasn't until, you had some pretty serious conversations with me before I changed my mindset. But I think a lot of people do this. Like my perspective was, oh, well, it's just temporary because I'm working really hard because I'm on these, like, they gave me an extra project and I'm trying to prove myself because I just got a promotion. And so like, in like a month, this project for this client is going to be over and like things are going to go back to normal. Right? It's like we keep finding excuses or reasons, external things. Where it's like, oh yeah, that's happening or whatever. Like that's going to end soon. Or it's like, oh yeah, well the kids are going to go back to school. And so then the schedule is going to get more normal. Or like, okay, we only have a couple more years before the kids are out of the house and then everything is going to change. But ruts do not go away on their own. And the deeper you are, the harder it is to get out. So I just want to say to those 44% of people, you can and you should climb your way out of this rut, because your relationship, your life, everything is going to be so much better if you can do that.
And I want to touch for a second on why we get into ruts in the first place. Honestly, like there's no like magic behind it. It's just life gets in the way. We all are so busy. We have so much on our plate. It's very easy for your relationship to slip to the bottom of your to-do list. I think a lot of us take our relationships for granted. Everything else feels like a fire, an emergency that we have to take care of. And it's like, my partner, like we're dependable, we're solid, like
we're committed.
We can just back burner it. And there's also the socialization that we get where all the focus is on like finding the partner and like wooing each other and winning them over and getting into the relationship. But then
getting engaged, like getting married. It's like you hit all those milestones and then it's like, oh, cool, we did it. We're done.
Yeah. And so we're not used to this idea of actively working on our relationship, continuing to put effort into it. So it's just so easy to get into that place with each other.
Yeah. I mean, which is kind of interesting. It's like, I think of like a fitness or a gym comparison. It's like nobody has ever said like, oh yeah, just like go to the gym really hard for like a year, get totally ripped, hit your fitness goals, and then just stop. Just stop. You're good. You built the body that you want. And it's just, you don't need to keep putting the work in. It's going to stay like that, right? Like hearing me say that sounds crazy, right? Like, no, like I've never heard anybody say that. Oh yeah, once you get the muscles, then like they just stay there. Right. But like we do this with relationships. Why would it be any different? Why would your relationship be any different? Why would, just like symbolically getting married or something exempt you from the fact that it's like we're still two people with a relationship like that is alive and needs to be nurtured and taken care of.
Okay, so before we get into what your plan is for getting out of this rut, let's talk a little bit about how to get your partner on board with doing this with you.
Yeah, because your partner might not even be aware that you're in a rut. I think that is so common where it's like one partner seems like blissfully unaware and the other partner's like, it seems like we're in having a bit of a problem here.
So first I want to normalize, like it's really common for one partner to be more willing, more interested, more like actively taking the lead in working on the relationship.
Or at the very least, it's probably the person that identifies first that they're in a rut.
Yeah. And I know that can be tricky, especially in a sensitive situation like this. Like it would be obviously so much easier if both you and your partner in the exact same moment were like, we're in a rut. That scared Maggie. But that's not how life works. So let's just normalize.
It also sounds kind of crazy when we say lines together on the podcast, right? Like, so just as weird as that sounds, that's literally how weird it would be if you both looked up at each other. I mean, it's kind of like we always joke around about like sex drive. How weird would it be if like the moment I get turned on, Vanessa is like, oh my God, I'm so wildly turned on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't happen. And so it's not going to happen in this situation either.
So here's how to bring it up with your partner. So the main thing is that you want to frame this as a positive, team-oriented conversation. So this is not about blaming your partner. This is about the two of you coming together as a team. And you want it to feel like something exciting too, because at the end of the day, this is an exciting thing. Reconnecting, not being in a rut, like that's way better than being in a disconnected rut. So in general, I tend to make the recommendation to just blame life because that is often the culprit for the vast majority of ruts. So saying something to your partner like, I know we've been so busy lately and that our relationship has slipped to the back burner. That is not what I want. And I know that you don't want that either. So I really like that statement because you're making it clear to your partner, like, hey, I care about you. I care about us. I don't want us to be at the bottom of the to-do list. And you're giving them the benefit of the doubt, the grace, the goodwill to say, like, I know that's not what you want either.
Yeah, I think this is so important because I think if you are the person listening to this right now and you are like, yeah, we are in a rut, I don't think my partner realizes, or maybe their head's buried in the sand or whatever, or they just think it's temporary and it's naturally going to fix itself, but I know that's not the case. I think it's so important to be aware of just the dynamic, the unbalanced dynamic of you bringing up, hey, I think we're in a rut. Like in a more matter of fact or, kind of like unskilled way, because even if you are not saying we're in a rut and it's your fault, even if you're just like, hey, you know what? I think that we're kind of in a rut. Your partner is likely going to receive that in a way of like, oh, like, so like the subtext is, okay, my partner is aware of this, has probably been aware of this for some amount of time. Mm-hmm. They've been thinking about it. They're not happy. They don't think that they obviously don't think that I'm aware of it. So like they've been aware of it. I'm not. So like I must be doing something wrong. They might be saying I need to do something different. So it's like, it feels like the deck is almost immediately stacked against you. If it feels sort of like it's just this one-sided, like, hey, I've been noticing for a while that things are feeling disconnected between us. And it immediately just kind of gets you into, it really primes you to do what I was saying before about like overly blaming situation or like it's going to get better on its own or whatever, or like finding some external thing, or even like flipping the script and being like, no, you think we're in a rut? Like we're not in a rut. Like, and then you start, trying to argue like, oh, here's all the things that I did to be intimate with you, or, whatever. You're in the rut. I'm not in a rut, like something.
You're in the rut.
This is your fault, not my fault. And it's like, wait, hold on. Like we weren't even trying to talk about fault. So I just think that's so important to be aware of. Even if you think like, hey, I'm just trying to be real matter of fact about this, it can bring up some really tricky dynamics. So I like what you said about, and I think the key here is, I know you were saying you can blame the situation. And, I am aware. I was also just talking about how it's not great to be blaming the situation. I think the key here is it's fine to be like, hey, there have been all these external things going on that have been making it challenging for us. The key, though, is then pivoting into, so we need to do something about this together, rather than, I know a lot's been going on, but let's just wait another month until those things end and things are going to get better. I think that's like the big difference here. So blame the situation, but then suggest action that you two take together.
Okay. So after you say, like, I know that you don't want that either, you can say something like, but the timing is perfect because I just heard a Pillow Talks podcast.
Oh, it's the action that you can take. Wow.
This is, just like use this podcast as a conversation opener, as a way to like open that door. Like, I just heard this podcast episode. Vanessa and Xander just released it, and they have a specific game plan for how couples can reconnect. Would you be open to doing it with me? It would mean a lot to me. So like sharing that, like invite your partner to do it, and sharing like, hey, this would really mean a lot to me. Like that's a great way to get them invested and open to doing it.
Yeah.
too.
And I mean, depending on your situation, it could even be like, look, they have this thing that's about like getting out of a rut. I don't really even think we're like in a rut per se, but like all these ideas are super, super good for just reconnecting, being happy. I'm curious what it would feel like if we actively did some of these things, if we thought about this as like going to the gym for our relationship.
Okay, so let's go over your 4-week rut busting game plan.
You said it. You said it.
Rut busting, that's different. That's not the same phrase.
Oh, your 4-week bust a rut game plan?
Okay, so here's how we've laid this out. There's a different theme to each week. And in each week, you're going to get a daily 5-minute activity, a midweek, like do it at any point during the week, something that'll take about 20 minutes, and then a date night idea.
Mm-hmm.
So you can feel free to make adjustments, make changes. If you don't like a certain thing, you don't have to. But again, we wanted to like really create this structure that you didn't have to think about something. You could just follow the plan, and we can guarantee you that at the end of these 4 weeks, you are going to be feeling closer to each other. Okay, so the theme of week 1 is rediscovering each other. Because this is what happens when we get into a rut. We forget about each other and all the things that we like about each other. Like, oh yeah, you actually are my favorite person, not just the human being that always puts the toilet paper roll on the wrong way.
Yeah,
like,
you actually are my best friend.
Yeah.
My lover.
No. Just saying all the things to give me the ick in this
my
episode.
Juicy lover.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Oh, that's probably a couple weeks into the plan. I'll save that for later.
Okay, so this is all about like seeing each other with fresh eyes again, appreciating each other again. So your daily 5-minute activity, and honestly, this could take like even less than 5 minutes. This could take 30 seconds. But every day, tell your partner something that you appreciate about them. Now, the key here is don't be generic. Something like,
I appreciate you.
You look nice. Like, no, you might as well not say anything. Be specific and try to call out those like interesting, unique little things. So like maybe it's something like, I love how you always refill my coffee without asking. Or I love watching the way you geek out about bird watching. Like something specific to your partner. So this is really helping train your brain to focus on the positive things. Our brains so easily focus on the negative, annoying, frustrating things. And then it's straight one-way ticket into Rutsville when all you're thinking about is all the ways that your partner says things that annoy you, like lover and juicy.
No, I think that's such an important point, and this point got really driven home through a really skillfully done example. When Vanessa and I, we were kind of at like a business event maybe a year or so ago, and someone was giving a presentation. And the very first thing this guy does in the presentation, like he's introduced himself and he like basically puts a slide up on the board. And there's like a bunch of math problems, I think, or maybe like, word association things. And he's like, all right, what do you notice about this? And like the first thing when you look at it is like, there's a bunch of math problems and like they all see, like most of them, almost all of them are wrong. You know, it's like 9 + 9 = 10. And like, you know, like nice equals bad or stuff like that. And you're like, so everyone is like, oh, okay, like that one's wrong. And like, you know, the like shape that he's like trying to show is like, it says triangle, but it's actually a circle. You know, like everyone is just pointing out all this stuff. And like, you know, there's a lot of wrong things on this slide. And so we spend a couple of minutes, he's like calling on all these people and like identifying everything that's wrong. And we get to the end, you know, and then like everyone's hand that's gone up has been called on and like, we're out of things. And he gets to he's like, okay, so like nobody else. The question, mind you, is what do you notice about this? And he goes, okay, so you guys called out everything that's wrong. There are a number of things that are right on here. Mm-hmm. Nobody called that out. I asked you, what do you notice about this? Not what is wrong with this. But the important thing is like how quickly our brains, when we are presented with something going on, and that something going on in this case is like your household, things that are going on in like, you know, with when you are together, how very quickly we just pick up on the negative. And so this is a really great way to force your brain to think about, oh yeah, what are some of those positive things? And it might seem silly, but just calling out those little, you know, and even if you're struggling to find something super creative, like Vanessa said, or like, oh, I like how you always, you know, do this with my coffee or whatever, like literally just think of what was one nice thing that your partner did for you today, even if it's something that you expect them to do. It feels so good. And it's really just a start of retraining your brain to think differently.
Okay, then your midweek exercise is the remember when game. So do some reminiscing with each other. Think back to funny, entertaining, like sweet memories, like maybe your first date, that time that you got lost on vacation, the apartment with a weird neighbor. So reminiscing is just such a great way to reconnect with each other, to remind each other that you've already like been through so much together. And it just feels like really fun to think back on different, you know, random little timelines and events. It doesn't have to be, you know, huge milestone stuff. Sometimes just the random stuff. Also bonus points if you want to pull up any pictures, that can be a super, or even music too. Like, oh, this was that first song that I ever sent to you, the first band that we ever bonded over. So that can be super fun. This could be 20 minutes. Again, if you're really pressed for time, this could be like 5 minutes. Doesn't need to be a big deal, but just like a little bit of reminiscing can go a long way.
Yeah, I mean, this could even be things you text back and forth during the day.
Yeah, that could be a sweet way to do it too.
But I think I just thought of this as you were saying this. I think like if anyone has their doubts about this exercise or is like, oh, this feels really cheesy or overly sentimental, I think that we don't give this the credit that it deserves for how well it works. And here's my proof of that is like, I'm struggling to think of any specific, or wait, no, I do have a specific example, but it might not even be necessary. But like, I feel like there's a very common scene in rom-coms or like any kind of movie where maybe you have two characters who have broken up or have been divorced for a while. And then whenever there's a story showing like, you know, two people getting back together or kind of like, you know, they've been apart for a long time and maybe it seems like they're not compatible, but then like times have changed and like now maybe something is going to happen. It always happens over reminiscing. I think this is such a common scene in movies. It's like two people that have been broken up forever and they've been fighting and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden they're like, you know, stuck together in a coffee shop and the rain is pouring and they start.
The rain is pouring?
The rain.
You said the brain.
No, the rain is pouring. They can't go outside. They're stuck there. And they start reminiscing and laughing about stuff that has happened before. And like, as impractical as that might be, like, oh, these two are really going to get back together because of this, our brains just give it a pass in like when we're watching it on TV, because we're like, oh yeah, like that's so sweet. Like, okay, that all makes sense. So it's like, if you can get two random people that you don't even know that are just characters in a TV show, and you believe the fact that, oh yeah, maybe there actually is something there because they're reminiscing about all this stuff. Like, think about how powerful that could be in real life for two people that aren't divorced or aren't broken up and actually have a whole lifetime of memories together. Like, just think about that. That's my rant.
Okay. And then your weekend date night is to come up with a relationship ritual. So this is like something that can be just your special little thing. And we love relationship rituals because it feels like an inside joke, your secret couples handshake. It just feels like this thing that's uniquely you. It's special. It's just between the two of you. Plus, it gives you something to look forward to, especially, you know, when life is crazy, feeling really full. Like, we have these rituals that we can look forward to. So some random examples could be like, maybe it's you decide every Sunday morning we're going to make pancakes together, or like once a month, you know, on a Sunday morning we're going to make pancakes. Maybe it's a monthly full moon hike, or a quarterly one-night staycation where you just get in those fluffy robes and watch trashy TV and order room service. But like, what's some little thing that could just be uniquely yours? So the planning of it is half the fun. So spend some time like brainstorming, come up with a bunch of random ideas, like be a little kooky and silly, but then decide on at least one thing that feels like a fun little ritual that the two of you could commit to. Okay, I think we've all been here, right? You wake up and you've got some sort of like funky symptom, like swollen, itchy eye, maybe a rash that looks a little funky, this like weird pain in your neck. You start Googling it, you go down a TikTok rabbit hole, and all of a sudden you're convinced that all the things are wrong with you. Stop doing that to yourself and start checking out ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high quality in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. They have more than 100,000 doctors across every specialty: mental health, dental health, primary care, urgent care, and more. And the filters are incredible. You can find doctors who take your insurance, are located nearby, are a good fit for any medical need you may have, and are highly rated by verified patients. And you can book an appointment fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours. Fortunately, we have not woken up with any weird symptoms personally lately, but the next time we do, we are definitely going to use ZocDoc to help us find the right medical treatment. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/pillow to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/pillow. ZocDoc.com/pillow. Okay, I have an update on one of our podcast sponsors, Blissy. They make these incredible silk pillowcases. So we slept on the pillowcases before we did an ad. We were like, oh, great, these are nice, like feels really good on my skin. It felt very cooling to me. But then we like slept on them for, it's been like a couple weeks now. And my hair is like, I can totally see a difference. I have pretty frizzy hair, and I wake up in the morning, like on normal pillowcases, it's been like, you know, frizzed around all night. And like, but since I've been sleeping on Blissy pillowcases, when I wake up in the morning, my hair is like smooth. You even noticed it.
I love it.
Which was wild. You're like, oh my God, your hair looks so much better than it normally does in the morning. So I'm a believer in these Blissy pillowcases.
And I can't go anywhere without mine. We actually went.
You really like yours.
We went up to the mountains the other weekend to go skiing. I brought my Blissy pillow with me, my pillowcase. I also brought my pillow, but I brought the pillowcase specifically because it just feels so luxurious.
It does.
I'm really into it.
Because you're a listener, Blissy is offering a 60-night risk-free plus an additional 30% off when you shop at blissy.com/pillowpod. That's BLISSY.com/pillowpod and use code pillowpod to get an additional 30% off. Your skin and hair will thank you. Okay, week 2. The theme of week 2 is bringing back joy. Having fun with each other again. I think this is a major thing that is missing in so many relationships. We feel like we just don't have very much fun with each other anymore. So this is all about a little bit more fun. Having those times where you like feel like you're just laughing so hard, your stomach is starting to hurt. There's so many boring parts of being an adult and like having a household together. You're talking about insurance policies and the best way to load the dishwasher and all this stuff. Like, I think it's important for us to have time when we can break out of that adult mode and just be silly and playful and goofy with each other. Okay, so for your daily activity, we're going to have you do something that we're calling Joy Confetti, where all that you're going to do here is just text each other one funny memory, one joke, a meme, something stupid that you see on the internet, like literally anything. But it's just a way to like just sneak those little moments of humor, joy into each other's day. So you find like there's a little video that makes you giggle on Instagram, just send it to your partner. Do you remember some ridiculous memory between the two of you? Just send them a quick little text or a voice note or something like that. So it's just, these are really those tiny little moments, but it just makes life feel a little bit more fun.
Yeah, and I think even if this feels totally out of character for you, I think the problem when we get into these ruts is like you get into the rut and you're like, oh, well, we haven't been doing anything funny or silly for so long, so it's going to be weird if I do something funny or silly. But it's like, what's going to be weird is if you stay in this rut forever. Like, you know, lead into the weird. Like, who cares if you don't usually do this? Like, this is about creating new habits, new traditions that are going to create that joy and going to bring that connection.
Then midweek, see if you have time for like 10 to 20 minutes of Would You Rather Couples Edition. So we actually, within Deeper, our couples membership, we do a daily Would You Rather question because we think they're just such great conversation openers. Like, they're oftentimes ridiculous situations and scenarios, so they feel fun to answer, but also there's usually some nugget of information that you get about your partner, something you didn't realize about them, a preference that they had. It opens a conversation in a way that you didn't expect. So we just think that this is a super fun game. So you could ask your partner things like, would you rather we lived in a tiny house with a giant garden or a giant house with no yard? Would you rather I could read your mind or you could read my mind? So they can be silly, they can be serious, they can be about your relationship, about nothing at all, but like just play a little around back and forth. It can be super fun.
Ooh, if that mind reading one, that's a rough one. That is a rough one. I don't know what I would choose there. Wow. But okay. It would start a really good conversation because you're like, yeah, like you're thinking about it like, oh God, like, do I really want her knowing like every little thing that I'm thinking about? But then like, God, do I really want to know every little thing she's thinking about? What's better? What's worse? But it opens up. Yeah, that one's kind of rough. Maybe don't start with that. That's one to work your way into. But, you know, you can see how it starts to open that conversation of like, yeah, what would it be like if we actually were able to know each other's thoughts? Would we think differently about each other? Would we be able to set stuff aside? Like, it's just interesting.
Okay, and then your weekend date night is to have an adult play date.
Ooh, so that sounds sexy.
And that's week 3. No, this is to channel your inner 12-year-old and do something that is purely fun, like something that you would have loved doing when you were a kid. So maybe it's like going mini golf, maybe it's an air hockey tournament, maybe it's like a dance off. Like, it could really just be as silly and ridiculous as you want, but it has to have zero practical value, just like pure fun, pure ridiculousness, taps into your inner child in some way or another, but just giving yourselves that time to do something really ridiculous and silly with each other.
What would you choose?
Ooh, I think I'd maybe do like a mini golf. I like mini golf. What about you?
I know we don't have a mini golf in town.
It's like 45 minutes away.
I know. We've never been. You know what? We should go someday.
Let's
just for fun.
I
was going to say the same.
They have go-kart rides at that place too.
Yeah, that's fun.
Why are you grimacing though? You're like, ooh, that's fun.
I'm smiling. What do you mean grimacing?
Okay, week 3. The theme is rebuilding closeness. So this is all about getting a little bit more physical with each other. So obviously we are big believers in the importance of physical intimacy. We believe physical intimacy isn't just sex. And we also believe that sex isn't just a purely physical act. This is all about like really finding the joy and the connection in sharing our bodies with each other. Oh my God, that came out so cheesy. Okay, but we are also going to make this feel really practical, and we are going to slowly build up to stuff too. Because oftentimes when you're in a rut, you probably haven't had sex in a while. You're probably not touching each other all that much. So it can often feel intimidating to get back in the saddle. So we're going to ease you back into it. So your daily activity, and this takes 36 seconds. So this
or
is a
30 because
real,
you could do them at the same time.
this is a real simple one here. But you're going to do a 6-second hug and a 30-second kiss. So
wait. You got those backwards.
Oh, you're right. 30-second hug and a 6-second kiss. So research has shown that those are the exact time frames that our bodies need to release oxytocin, which is the feel-good hormone. It's what makes us feel close and connected to each other. So this is such a great, simple tip because it's literally 36 seconds, or yes, it could be 30 seconds if you do them at the same time. But it creates so much impact. Like you will feel so much closer to it. If you just did one thing, like in this entire game plan that we've laid out for you, the 6-second kiss and 30-second hug makes such a big difference. So don't need to like set a crazy timer. We don't need to be, ridiculous about it. But like the cool thing with the hug is that you'll feel the point when your body's relaxed. Like it feels like your body going, this kind of melty feeling with each other. So every day, 30-second hug, 6-second kiss. Then your midweek activity is a 20-minute massage. So you're going to take turns. You're each going to have 10 minutes. If you want to go longer, this is a great one that I think a lot of people are like, we can find a little bit more time for this one.
What about for the people that are like, a massage?
No, it's a real massage.
Real ass massage. Not on your ass.
Yeah. I mean, it can be if you want to.
Not a sexy one on the ass.
But this is 10 minutes at least for each other. Now, if you do not know how to give a massage, that's okay. That's totally fine. It doesn't need to be fancy. It could literally just get in there with their shoulders, their hands, feet. Those are all great parts to try massaging. And you do not have to get fancy, or look up a YouTube video, just like 10-minute couples massage. And you can find tutorials where they'll walk you through like, here's how you do it. So I think this is going to be a very popular one. So find that 20 minutes sometime during the week for a massage. Okay, and then your weekend date night is to carve out 1 hour for an intentional intimacy date.
Mm-hmm.
We like using the phrase intentional intimacy instead of scheduled sex because scheduled sex, it just sounds boring and like...
People hate it.
Yeah, people hate it. So we like to think about being intentional and intimate rather than like, we don't want it to feel like the pressure is on, you have to have sex on this specific day, like you're signing a contract and committing to it. So our thought behind intentional intimacy is that we agree to carve out time to spend with each other and to do something involving physicality, cuddling, holding hands, making out, giving longer massages, like you're just doing something with your bodies to connect with each other. If you do feel like doing more, you can absolutely do more. But the idea is simply to carve out that block of time and say, we are spending this time with each other. We are making each other the priority for this hour of time.
Yeah, and I think that for anybody that is doing this, and they're in a relationship rut and also like very much in the middle of a dry spell. If it's been a really long time since you've had sex and that's feeling scary, the prospect of like, oh my God, like, so you're telling me to just like, boom, we're gonna commit to having sex. I think that, my recommendation there, especially if you guys are both on board with this and you're talking about it, I think it can be really powerful to be like, okay, we are going to slowly work our way back into the saddle over a number of weeks. So we're going to have this intentional intimacy date. Let's let's say, at most it's like first base only. We're just going to like touch each other and, not go any further than that. And then, but what you can do is say, and then, we're going to do that for the first week. Then let's do this again a week later. And maybe we will just do second base. And then the next week we will do third base, like oral. And then the fourth week we will have intercourse or, whatever the main event is for you. And I think having that structure where you're like, okay, this is the max that we're going to do, it takes a lot of pressure off. And it allows you to both kind of get excited about like going back to doing things that honestly most couples neglect. And it can, we've done that before in times where things have, where it's felt like it's been a long time. And I think that's a really great way to get back into the saddle in an intentionally intimate way.
Okay, and let's bring it on home with week 4. The theme is future vision. So at this point, you've reconnected, you're playing together, you've rebuilt that physical closeness. It is time to look forward. So without this step, it's really easy to fall back into the old patterns. It's like, okay, yeah, we did the thing. All right, back to normal. But this week is about creating these shared dreams, shared visions for the future. And I think this is something that most couples never do in their relationship, creating shared dreams, a shared vision for the future. And it actually is a surprisingly and shockingly powerful step. So here's the daily activity. Future anticipation. So every day, just share one thing that you're looking forward to doing together. So it could be something super simple like, oh yeah, I can't wait to try that new ramen place that just opened up. Or it could be something bigger, like I'm so excited about the trip that we're taking next year to go to Portugal, something like that. But just like one thing that you're looking forward to with your partner. This helps create just these little like sparks of anticipation. There's amazing research showing that anticipation in relationships is so powerful. It increases our motivation. It increases our like enjoyment and our connection. So it just feels like fun. It's kind of, it's the opposite of the reminiscing. It's like, it's creating future
it's like
memories.
Future reminiscing?
Future reminiscing.
Pre-reminiscence?
Pre-reminiscing. Yeah. So just, again, this could take like 2 minutes. It could take 30 seconds. It could be a text that you send to your partner, but every day, just something that you're looking forward to about doing, like something that you're looking forward to doing with your partner.
Yeah. And to all those of you that get hung up on like, oh, but I like things to be spontaneous. I hate to break it to you, but the research actually does show that the more the anticipation of an event actually releases more dopamine or yields us more enjoyment than the actual experiencing of the event that we've been anticipating, which is so interesting, which is one reason why intentional intimacy is so powerful. But also like, planning for things in the future and then talking about it and getting excited about it. It's like, we think like, oh, well, God, like we can only go on like one big vacation a year. So like, it's just like, it's not enough. Or like, how are we ever supposed to, I don't know, how are we supposed to, get all that quality time together? And it's like, yeah, the quality time you get together on that big vacation is important, but you can actually create so much connection and anticipation, like literally like reminiscing in advance about this thing that you are going to do.
Okay, your midweek activity is a dreams discussion. So each of you are going to take turns sharing a goal that you're working towards and how your partner can help make it happen. So this could be a personal goal that you want to work towards, or it could be a relationship goal that you want to work towards. And the point of this conversation is not to get into the nitty-gritty of like planning it and the logistics and how you're actually going to make it happen, but it's just about being able to speak goals and dreams out loud and kind of daydream together a little bit. And it just helps reinforce that you are both there to help each other be the best versions of yourself too. So for your partner, like for you to be able to share your dream or your goal with your partner and for them to be able to say like, that's like, I support that. That's super meaningful. How else can I be a good partner to you in this? Like that can just feel so sweet to have those conversations.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people avoid this. I know that I used to avoid this type of conversation a lot. And I think this might be a more masculine thing, but I think like men, or at least I very often thought, if I'm going to share something that I want to do, I need to have a clear path for how I'm going to do it. Or like if by sharing it, I'm somehow committing, I'm like putting out onto the record, like Xander is saying that he wants to do this. So if he doesn't do it, he's failed. And so that was always really scary for me. And I think that that can be a big challenge for a lot of men because, you know, men tend to default to like the more practical or rational or like, okay, if I'm going to talk about wanting to do something, I have to actually be able to tell you how I am going to get from point A to point B. And so I think, you know, that's kind of how we've like split this out. Where in the daily thing, we're talking about, like anticipating something that you are actually going to do sometime in the future, like where it is, okay, I do know the path from point A to point B. It's like, we got to get through the week and then we're going to the ramen place versus, you know, breaking out like, we're talking about our dreams. We are not talking about how we're going to achieve them.
Okay, and then your weekend date night is a relationship vision creation. So you're going to create a relationship vision board or a document, whatever you want. If you're a more visual person, you can get crafty, like cut out pictures, tear up some magazines, whatever you want. Or if it just feels more fun and interesting to you to just like make a shared Google Doc or something, like whatever format feels better for you. And you're also going to pick a time frame of like, what do you want your relationship to look like? Either 1 year, 5 year, 10 years, 30 years, like whatever time frame feels fun for you in this season of life. Like pick a time frame. And so the idea here is to come up with a vision board of what you want your relationship to look like by the time you hit that point. So what things do you want to accomplish separately, together? What do you want your relationship to feel like? What do you want to be working towards next? Like you can really get creative here. But I think it's really great to have something visual. So whether it's some sort of collage or like just visually in a document to really be able to have like this kind of wish list for your relationship. These are all the things that we want to be able to experience with each other. It makes the future feel so exciting, makes you feel like a team in working together to get all those things knocked off your bucket list. All right, so that wraps up your 4-week game plan. So to summarize, you've got week 1 is all about rediscovering each other. Week 2 is about bringing back joy. Week 3 is rebuilding closeness. And week 4 is creating your future vision. So first step is to send this episode to your partner. Tell them, oh my gosh, this sounds so interesting. Can we listen to it together? I'd love to do this with you. Get that conversation started because at the end of the day, your love, your relationship, your connection is special. It's unique. It's okay and understandable if you've gotten into a rut, but your relationship deserves reprioritizing.
Yeah, your relationship is worth it.
And we really think that this game plan is going to get you there. So we would love to hear what you think about this. Like I mentioned, like we haven't ever really done a super specific game plan like this before. So come on over to Instagram. We're at Vanessa and Xander. Let us know what you thought about this game plan. Or I think if you're listening on Spotify, you can leave comments now too.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know
Don't
what you
hold
think. That is all for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. And join us again next week. We release episodes every Thursday.